over $1.1 trillion in credit card debt. So let's go ahead and take a look at the credit card debt of America. And we hope everybody is able to pay off their credit cards at the end of every month. However, it's a fact of life that some folks are just not able to pay their bills or spending too much. And here, what we're going to start is what's called the chart crime files. Here at Petros Family Wealth, we look at a whole bunch of data every single day, trying to find some opportunities for our clients and understand and mitigate risks where we can. But every once in a while, we come across a data set that just looks a little off or looks a little weird, and we want to take a look from a different lens in order to see if there's something there, or maybe it's not as bad as it sounds. So the one we're going to dive in today is the $1.1 trillion of credit card debt. Talk through it, what it's trying to tell us, what alarmists might be saying about it, and get our take as well. So we have a tool that we use called Y-Charts, and it goes through, there's lots of data that we can pull up at any time. And this, I pulled up the US credit card debt balance, and it started tracking it late 90s, but I started it here at the beginning of 2000. And as you can see, credit card debt was about $500 billion back at the end of 1999. So it's had about a double. And what we want to take a look at from different perspectives, let's take a look at the percentage change. So like we mentioned, about 125%, 123% growth over time, over the last 24 years. But one of the things we want to also look at, well, how is that relative to other pieces of information? So the one that, when we look at debt, well, how is that compared with maybe somebody's overall net worth? And so I took a look at the U.S. total net worth balance sheet for households and nonprofits. And what we could see over the last 24 years, well, there's been over a 200% growth compared to the doubling or the 100% growth of the credit card debt. So let's take a look at them both side by side. As you can see, as far as the overall net worth for American households, over 263% compared to 123%. Actually, we might actually be in a better position now than we were about 15 years ago. But the other thing that we want to look at when we look at data is these are, when we see something of averages or totals, we definitely want to dive in a little bit deeper as far as who owns what or what percentage. So one of the things that we want to take a look at, just to make sure that we're not minimizing the size of the credit card balances, is we want to try to find a way to identify who has that, whether their income, by age. And one of the resources that we feel is non-biased here is through the Federal Reserve and the Survey of Consumer Finances. They do a study every 3 years to answer the question if there's going to be any issues regarding to the size of the credit card balance, outstanding balances. I wanted to take a look at what they call transaction accounts, basically checking accounts, and then break it out by the percentile of income. And you can do it by age, family structure, percentage net worth, and the liking. And one of the things you'll see here, so as at the end of 2022, and we're here sitting in 2024, so it's not the most real-time data, but it is a good survey to take a look at. If you're in the 20th percentile as far as income, your average checking account balance is around $900. And how does that compare to previous years? So let's just take a look back compared to the early 2000s when we started that credit card data. And it looks like they had, when adjusted for inflation, about the equivalent of today, around $1,400. So their checking account sizes have gone down, which likely is creating some, if they're a big portion of the credit card balances, may tell us that there are some risks associated with the size of the credit card balances. And then if you do factor in some of the higher income earners, you could see, and we've probably all heard this in the news, that the wealth going to the rich keep getting richer. And this is unfortunately another statistic that shares that information. But so far, when you see the headlines of 1.1 trillion of credit card debt, hopefully we can arm you with a couple of pieces of information, such as the overall balance sheet or net worth of consumers is in a good spot. Doesn't mean it can't change relatively quickly. But if you see some alarmist news out there, hopefully you're armed with a good rebuttal with information we provided today. Hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Thank you.